What is up? Coming to you live from the Cat House in Montebello, California. It's Dre's Geek Philosophy, the Monday edition, the November 4th edition. It's episode 146. It's the post Dia de los Muertos podcast. It's the post nonsense podcast. We're here. We're back again. Myself, my lovely wife, Rosa Limon Cervantes, is joining me once again on the podcast. And we had a very busy weekend.
Yes.
There was so much going on. I have to confess, even though I am technically Mexican, I was joking with my boss today. I am very güero.
You are.
I'm a white boy. Yeah. This was the first time I've ever gone or done anything in regards to Dia de los Muertos. Because your father, Leo Limon, he's very involved with one of the Dia de los Muertos celebrations that was going on here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of that because, spoiler alert, a lot of Mexicans are here in L.A. So that was a big celebration, and he asked me to come help him Saturday morning, set up some stuff. We decorated a tree. We created a very kind of a small little ofrenda. That's the term for a little shrine. I guess that's the Spanish for shrine. I guess and what I've learned between this and watching Coco again, the Disney Pixar Coco, that you set up an ofrenda. You set up a little shrine. That way, it allows your ancestors to come and visit you, and you pay them respects.
I was thinking that Coco is sort of like a beginner's guide to Day of the Dead.
Yes, that was very much to me.
Like,
yes.
Oh, okay. Just the way like Disney talks about death and talks about new family members and stuff like that. It's kind of like Coco's a little learning experience.
Yeah, you get
for Day of the Dead.
Because honestly, all I really knew about Day of the Dead is that people would put on the skull makeup and go dance around in various areas of Los Angeles, and they'd have there's a very specific bread that you'd eat, and then everyone just all kinds of stuff's going on.
You paint your face like a skull.
Paint your face like a skull, either the full, the quarter, the half, or half, or it's just also I had no idea about any of this stuff, but between you showed me Coco like it was about 10 months ago or 11 months ago. It was right around Christmas. I feel like it was around I was still living in Pasadena.
Right, yeah.
I remember we watched Coco there. You're like, you've never seen Coco? I'm like, I've been meaning to get around to it, but I'm a really whitewashed Mexican, TBH. Like the most Mexican I am is when it comes to food. I enjoy cooking Mexican food and I enjoy eating Mexican food.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'm pretty whitewashed. To much to the chagrin of my mother, who always calls me, ay, mi güerito, my little white boy.
Yeah, there was a lot of like in my family, you don't speak Spanish because it was looked down upon. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my grandma would speak English to me.
Oh.
And then my grandpa would speak English to me. But not to me. They would speak Spanish to each other.
Oh, they kind of kept it like, all right, we can still speak to each other.
Yeah, it's like code language. And I swear to God, who was it? I don't remember but I was listening to, it was just like a mom singing a song to her child. And the mom was speaking Spanish, and the child was also doing singing along. And I realized that kid already has an advantage, even more than me. I mean, to a certain extent.
That's kind of cold that your parents or your grandparents were like, they kept Spanish from you guys. Like, we want to still be able to speak about you without you knowing.
Yeah.
See, my parents, they taught me Spanish, but they always speak this, they spoke Pig Latin in Spanish. Like, and I'll never forget the day. My parents, we were driving down Atlantic Boulevard, not far from where we had dinner yesterday.
Yeah.
And they were driving down, and then they're busting out the Pig Latin.
Oh,
and I was just like, I'd heard them say it because they do it all the time because they wanted to say something to each other without telling me, and I'd be sitting in the back, and I'm like, damn you both.
Yeah.
And then I decoded it. It was all just like moving because all it really the Pig Latin is just moving something to the back.
Right. Yeah.
And I was just like, I sat back there and I repeated back. I'm like, this, or whatever they said. I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand what you're saying. And they both went, damn it. They were like, they got really frustrated because I said out loud. I'm like, oh, you guys just said this. La 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 la. I don't remember what it was. I just remember the feeling of like my little, however old I was, like 9 or 10 years old, where I was like, I know what you're doing. I know what you just said. I figured it out. It's my parents. I think they feared my big brain at that point, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's a smart one.
Oh yeah, I've always been clever. I was a very clever young man. I still think I'm a little clever. I can be dumb sometimes, but I have flash. I'm a solver of puzzles, and to that was just a puzzle because it was so frustrating to me as a child. I'm like, what are they saying? I know they're saying something I'm not supposed to hear, but it's funny you're saying, but the parents speaking Spanish.
Yeah. My parents, they spoke English to me for the most part. I mean, there was every once in a while they would speak Spanish, and then I would ask them, can we just speak Spanish all day today so I can learn it? But then, it would fall off,
right.
Just fall away and that kind of thing. And then I learned all the bad words first. And in high school, I mean, all my friends, I mean, I grew up in LA, so it was, majority was Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I didn't even know, but at some point, Salvadorian and Puerto Rican and all that came into play, and I thought we were all exactly the same, until
we're all Mexicans.
Until somebody was like,
"Fuck you! I'm not Mexican. I'm Guatemalan."
And that's crazy because at some point somebody was like, "Why are you friends with her?
Like
she's something else, And I was like,
she's from Venezuela. Why are you friends with her? Like, no, she speaks Spanish too. Aren't we all brown? Yo.
I know. I'm like, I eat her mom's food, like just like I eat my grandma's food. Like,
yo, they got some fast food over there. It's different from what we got at home.
I'm like, this is delicious. I mean, what? Why would you not be friends with somebody just because there's something or from somewhere? They're not even from somewhere else. It's their parents that were from somewhere else.
Daniel Wong on Facebook Live. I thought I was Mexican until 3rd grade. That's hilarious, Daniel Wong.
That's awesome. See, it's just one of those things, like, when you're kind of blind to it as a kid because you haven't been exposed to the racism of it all or the deep roots of, people not getting along with each other for whatever reason, right? So,
because, me and Daniel Wong here, we both grew up in Monterey Park, and Monterey Park is East LA adjacent, so you're very much exposed to all that.
Yeah.
Monterey Park was not the full Chinatown that it is now. It's Chinatown East.
Yeah, right.
I mean the borders of Monterey Park are still very mixed. But the core of Monterey Park is very much Chinatown East.
It's very yeah.
Chino Latino right there.
That's awesome. Oh, I've never heard that. That's cool.
Chino Latino.
I like that.
It's funny you mentioned the speaking of Spanish because when I was a kid, I learned my memory is terrible. I learned Spanish first. My parents. Because my mom is obviously more comfortable in Spanish.
Yeah.
My dad could speak both.
Yeah.
But they mostly spoke Spanish at home.
Right.
And so when I was a kid, I learned Spanish first. But as soon as they sent me off to Bella Vista Elementary, I was like, okay, English.
English, yeah.
and it's like my brain dumped all the Spanish out.
Wow.
And I could always understand Spanish, but I wasn't good at firing it back. And that's kind of how it always was for the longest time. As I grew up, I could speak it. The word in Spanish mucho, I was always broken. My Spanish was always broken for the longest time until I was 20 years old and I started working at Toys R Us in Montebello, and then I was forced to learn Spanish because most of the customers only spoke Spanish.
Oh yeah.
¿Dónde están los pañales? Están atrás de la tienda. Where are the diapers? They're in the back corner of the store. And then I was forced to translate because I looked a lot more Mexican back then. I was still I was very dark and I had a full head of hair, so I looked very Mexican. Now I am of mysterious race. Now I'm he could be white, he could be Armenian, he could be Middle Eastern, he could be I don't know.
Just don't mess with him. He's strong.
He's weird. He looks Greek. I some weird Eastern Bloc European. I don't know.
I've been called Filipina.
You've been called Filipina?
Yeah. Puerto Rican. I know. That's why I was like, what?
No, it's weird sometimes.
I don't know. Maybe it was my haircut at the time or something.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me if I had
people.
if I had Chinese in me or something. I was like, what? There's just different times in my life where somebody's asked me if I had if I mixed or something.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times people thought it was because I primarily all through most of school and I want to say a good 30 years of my life I hung out with primarily Asians, so
right.
people always kind of assume maybe I'm mixed, maybe I'm a quarter Asian. we used to joke in high school I was honorary Asian.
Oh yeah.
He's honorary Asian. He's
yeah.
honorary Chinese. I have to be Asian. I mean, I grew up right there. I just like I have absorbed so much Asian culture all throughout my life. I can use not toothpicks, dumbass, chopsticks very easily. I learned I remember I was always very insulted when I'd go to an Asian friend's house and then the parents were offering me a fork. I'm like, nah, give me the chopsticks. Aww, I can do this.
Aww. yeah.
They take me to an Asian restaurant. And the waitress is like, oh, fork. I'm like, nah. Give me those. Yeah. I got this.
It really is about exposure when you're a kid, though, right? Because my dad, he exposes to all kinds of different flavors and foods, and I learned how to use chopsticks when I was like a young kid. You know, also my uncle was infatuated with China.
Okay.
And Chinese culture, and so he gave me my first pair of chopsticks. I must have been like a nice pair 7 or 8 years old. Yeah.
I always used to the wooden ones.
Yeah, and they were nice, you know. And I didn't know. And he was the one who and my other uncle was all about Italian food. So he was the first raviolis and first meatballs, and you know what I mean. It wasn't just all Mexican food. Vodka? What?
No, was it Daniel Wong here on Facebook Live? Definitely part Asian, especially the Nintendo part. And then, for those of you who can't see, I held up my Nintendo pint glass here. And then Mike Kirksey, you see, I like to see my time lapse how people evolve. Mexicans are not much different from Asians. Play Apex Elaborate in a sec. Ah!
So yeah, it's about being exposed, right?
Exposure. Yeah, it's all about exposure.
Younger, yeah.
And plus, I exposed all my friends to incredibly good tamales, and I have ruined them forever. For they go to dry tamale. What the hell is this? Dre's mom served us some badass tamales.
Yeah, and then I moved so many times as a kid too. So I mean, going from neighborhood to neighborhood even changed, right?
See, that's something that I didn't really get to experience. Like I stayed in just MPK/Montebello my whole youth.
Yeah.
Well, you were just...
Mine was like Highland Park to Monterey Park.
Alhambra.
And then Alhambra, yeah. And then that's a huge culture...
That's a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
Highland Park to MPK.
That change is just like...
So okay. It's all.
Who's your neighbor? I don't know. Food smells good.
Food smells good. Like, it's surrounded by all this Chinese food and Japanese food. What's going on? This all smells good.
That's all good, yeah.
Feed me more. But yeah, to get back to my original point, I'm technically I'm Mexican, but I'm not super Mexican where I ever celebrated Dia de los Muertos. But you know, your dad is very much involved in it. You and your family, you guys are, you know.
He's been doing it since before my oldest brother was born. So like
he's
75 or something.
Papa Cat, as I like to call my father-in-law. Yeah, he's very much in that. So like now, I have to like I am now.
Part of it.
I am now part of it. I'm part of this. I'm part of this family as well. So like, all right, I have to get involved and see. I was helping out Pops, and then later in the day after I dropped him off, came back, scooped you up, and we went to this crazy. We marched that procession of all these. I thought it was Aztec dancers.
First of all, when's the last time you took the gold line?
Never.
Really?
That was the first time I've ever taken the gold line.
Oh my God, you did such a good job. Usually when somebody takes a train, they're like, look at that. What is that? What are we doing next? And kind of freaked out a little bit, or
I've taken the trolley in Santiago so many times, so it's not too different from the trolley.
Okay.
Oh,
but okay, so that's the first time you took the gold line.
Yeah, it's not the first train I've ever when.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Back when I worked at Nintendo, take a drink, everyone. No, when we went to Washington D.C. We had to figure out all the trains. Because we did a big karaoke party. I found us a place, but it was relatively far from where we were staying. We were staying in the freaking one side of the freaking DC Capitol. We had to go to the other side, close to Georgetown, to get to this one karaoke place on. So we had to take a couple. I think we took a couple of trains. I had this motley crew of my fellow Nintendo coworkers. Right. And we're all right. Let's go on this train. because I don't think we had a local with, or we might have had a local with us who helped guide us, but we kind of figured it out because we're from all over the place. A bunch of us from Southern California, a bunch of us from various parts of the East Coast. We had this cool eclectic mix of East Coast and West Coast reps, all together. Increase the peace,
That's right.
Ryan Tanaka here on Facebook Live. Mock rice and spice.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. But yeah, no, I've taken the trip. So that was the first time me writing the Gold Line here in LA.
Right.
I'd never written it because you've taken it. You're a mass transit user.
Yes.
You're familiar with it. No, I was very cool. I was like, okay, cool. This is like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is like San Diego.
Okay.
Like, we're just gonna ride this,
Right, yeah.
in a relatively straight line from whatever
we only went like 4 stops, really.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. Yeah, it was. So all right, cool. We rode
Mariachi Plaza. Yeah.
to Mariachi Plaza, where that's where all the Aztec. Are they still technically Aztec dancers at that point? Are they? Okay.
Why?
Because I don't want to be insulting and be like, call them Aztec dancers when they're not Aztec. Like if they're dancing for Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, dancers.
They're dancers because they're very similar to the Aztec dancers that we saw at Lucha Vavoom during Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had the exact same the rattles, or what are those?
They're like the ankle. They're like nuts, like walnuts.
Yeah.
They
look like some sort of like some sort of like crazy, like it makes the noise when they're dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're providing cadence as they're dancing.
Yeah.
So we got there. They're all, and then there's a bunch of people who were like made up already, and then like we joined their little procession, and then we ran into Papa Cat there, and he was there with his making noise. Because I guess the point is to make a bunch of noise.
The point is to
because Papa had like a bunch of cans.
Make some noise, yeah.
He was banging his cans against the ground.
Like it's a procession, to wake up and to have
to wake the dead.
Dead join us, yeah.
Papa Cat, he was clanging his cans an entire 5 or 6 block walk that we went on, like clang clang clang.
That's
clang,
why he's
clang.
very much of
he's animated. He is not
animated, and he's not shy about it.
No,
Papa
Cat is not shy. Old Leo Limon, not a shy man.
He's not a shy cat.
Not a shy cat.
He's got 9 lives.
Yeah, and we got down to the self-help graphics. That's how would you describe self-help? I wouldn't know how to describe it. Wife, tell us about self-help graphics. You're familiar with it. You've been through those various incarnations.
So basically it's a hub for makers, for people who do screen printing, and other types of art. But what it kind of started off as was a collective of artists who would do graphics. Graphic design.
All right.
That's why it's called self-help graphics.
Right. I always assumed that you get to help yourself rise up. That's why I assumed was the self-help graphics, for the self-help part of self-help graphics.
It was kind of like the very first maker kind of studio that I could think of.
This was established in the 70s, wasn't it? Yeah, because as we've been cataloging your father's stuff, like I've noticed like a lot of stuff he's made self-help, it goes all the way back to the late 70s. Early to late 70s.
So these artists came under one roof, and they got all the equipment they needed for a print shop, and all the papers and all the paints and all the drying racks and all that kind of stuff. Everything that you need to get your graphics that you created into screen printing.
Or a lot of these people were getting their message out there, like your dad, for example. He got a lot of his messaging out there in his art.
Right. And so my dad just wanted to be a sign painter.
Oh, okay.
But in a strange way, he found self-help graphics and also murals, doing murals and all that kind of, artistic work that he just kept on doing. So that's what happens with self-help graphics.
They help create art. They help create artists. They help encourage people to become artists, or they help artists.
And they become a huge infusion into the LA scenery, because one of the old metal workers who was at the previous location on what is now Cesar Chavez, but they
used to be Brooklyn Avenue. If you're familiar with East LA,
Gage, he did all the metal work for the Metro. At the Metro station, the Pet Tourist Plaza that's over in downtown. So, they people become involved with the community you're involved with the community if you're a part of self-help graphics. That's why my dad is very, very much a part of the community.
Yeah, no, yeah,
your
dad is like your dad's like the mayor of East LA. Anywhere he goes around, people know who he is. Like we go to that restaurant yesterday, they're calling him Jefe.
Yeah. He's when people get to know you and you're friendly, you're a good friendly person, and they want to keep knowing you.
Yeah, so and there like we got down to self-help graphics. This is an awesome place. So they are having an art exhibit of a lot of Day of the Dead art.
It brings in a lot of people from all places, all around. You see, there's young people, old people.
Yeah, it's very much a big family thing.
Huge cultural stew.
Right here on Facebook Live, Mike Kirksey gives us a little dissertation. People traveled from Africa to Asia. Environment changed them. Into Japan, crossed the Alaska Bridge. They became Indians. Some get go south, became Mexican. Some got stuck in Hawaii, etc. Yeah, so technically we all are Asian. We're all like, I guess if you go all the way back, we're all from Mesopotamia. So we're all Asian at the end of the day. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
Some lost the pigment more than others.
Yes.
And that's how it went. Anthropology 101.
Anthro 101. A little anthropology lesson in the middle of our podcast.
Great. I love it.
Well, so we got down to self-help graphics, and there was a whole thing because First Street was at Mariachi Plaza. First Street was already closed. There was a big a separate event going on over there, and the one at Self-Help Graphics, they had the side street closed off, and they had like a whole fair. It felt like to me, it felt it was like a comic convention, but instead it was all cultural. It was like people it was like a lot of artisans, a lot of different stuff. Like we bought an awesome little onesie for our little guy. We got one of it's like Felix the cat, but he looked like he was all Day of the Dead.
He's all Day of the Dead. He's all skeleton, but yeah, it's amazing.
And then it was funny. Like one of the there was an exhibitor there who's exhibited at the East Los Angeles Comic Book Art and Pop Culture Expo, the East LA Cape. Little Libros, I've always heard their name, but I never looked at their booth. And we saw they had a booth at this Day of the Dead event, and I finally got to look at their books. Their books are adorable, and you bought one of the books.
Yeah, some of my friends have those books, and I was always kind of curious about them because they're so adorable and they're so cute. But I never saw one of those books available for sale anywhere, right?
Right. Because I feel like they mostly just do these types of shows.
They must, or just online or something. But when the girl was talking to us about how they're actually their educational tools. She said, oh, this one's about shapes. This one's about numbers. This one's about colors, whatever.
But they also use Mexican culture. They have all different, there's like opposites. That one's was an Evita book.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like very curious, and like I saw like a lot of like staples from like Mexican culture in there. I saw Cantinflas. I saw freaking Chavo del Ocho. Yeah. I saw like all this stuff. It's like very like, oh wow, I'm like, how are you guys getting away with this?
So, the creators of these books are doing an amazing job at infusing culture and in the education with this adorable books. Yeah. So of course I had to get the one that we got. So.
And then my wife picked out the book because like I was like she was picking one out, and she picked there's a lucha libre one, like wrestling, but now it does it teaches you anatomy. So like it's like going through all the wrestlers like eye, ojo, hand, mano. Yeah. it's like each page is showing so it teaches you it teaches the kid, but it does it in English, anatomy in English and in Spanish. It was very cute and adorable. Like I had no idea that this vendor has been under my nose for the last 30 years. I think they've been at all 3 capes. Right. And I was like, oh shit, you guys are on. I just told them like I've seen like I didn't like go native like we're part of the East LA Comic Con committee. I was like, oh wow, you guys have been at the last 3 capes. That's right. I never stopped to look at your booth, but I've heard you from there. Yeah. And it was kind of cool to actually see their stuff and then there was a lot of cool vendors, a lot of selling like a lot of really interesting stuff. A lot of it is very heavily cultural. Yes. I was joking with my boss like, oh man, like when I saw the booths, I'm like, oh, we need a booth. And I was like, oh, like what would we have taken from the video game warehouse? So like I was joking, all right, we could have taken the luchador games, the AAA, Lucha Libre. Oh yeah. I was like, there was there was this Chavo del Ocho freaking video game that came for the Wii only in South America. There was this Disney music game, Violeta. Oh really? That came out only in Latin America. My boss because a business that's related to us, they deal primarily in Latin America, so we have a lot of stuff that's like there's a game Dark Souls, we have it all in Spanish.
What about is the Latino Expo meant for anything besides art?
I don't know, but I was kind of just joking with my boss, and then
I know.
But the punchline at the very end is like, oh, all we had to bring was just a bunch of FIFA games, and we would have made a killing.
Oh my gosh.
bring all the soccer games. Like, bring every FIFA for every system. Like, oh, we would kill him there.
Oh, my goodness.
Me and my boss were just laughing about it. Because I was telling him, because me and my boss were always, oh, what did you do for the weekend?
Right, yeah.
I always have, like, this, 5-minute little catch up. What did you do? I was like, oh, man, I saw his booths. I'm like, oh, dude, we could have set up a booth, bro.
That would be funny. Yeah, so... Those are kind of coveted spots too.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, no, I was mostly joking though. In jest, they're like, "Oh yeah, we should go,
right, yeah,
sell Mexican video games to the community."
I thought it was amazing. Oh my gosh, they sold out of the food so fast.
Yeah, by the time we got over
and
there,
the drinks so fast.
Yeah, like you were looking like you wanted a lemon limonada, you wanted a lemon drink.
Something to drink.
And we get over there, and like by the time we got over there, because we saw a lot of the festivities, we saw some of the performances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we hung out with your dad, and let's go make our way over because your dad gave us he wanted some stickers, and we're like we couldn't find the stickers.
They were gone already.
And we go to the food area. The food area, it's still overwhelmed. There's all these lines, but then you see all these booths are like. I mean, they're out of horchata, they're out of Jamaica, they're out of freaking. I'm like, what the hell? They had like this weird orange drink left, and you're like, you weren't feeling that.
No.
It's like we walked back with a onesie and a book, and like that was it. Like, I'm like, I wanted horchata. I'm like, no one had horchata. I'm like,
horchata's gone.
Horchata's gone.
They need more
so
food,
sad.
more food vendors.
That's what I say. I'm really Mexican when it comes to food. Like, you put a horchata and some carne asada in front of me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Mexican now.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was just kind of fascinating. I was kind of like just so like I had never been exposed to like a lot of this stuff. It's like I don't know. I think I just always attribute it to like I haven't lost anyone super close to me, so maybe that's why I don't have like a family member who has been departed from me. Like I was like
right.
My grandparents passed away. Like I didn't really know any of them.
Yeah.
I mean like. My grandma on my mom's side was dead before I was even born. I kind of knew my grandpa on my mom's side a little bit, but it was just I was still too little, but we didn't visit him enough to where I built a relationship with him at all. Even then, when he was still he wasn't all there. He was in his 90s when I was a kid, so.
Yeah.
And then my parents, the grandparents on my dad's side, they were kind of kooky, so I never really got to know them. I think I had more time with them, but I never. Again, I was still just a little kid, so I never built. I don't know.
Is that the one with the
witchcraft? Yes.
Yeah.
My grandmother witchcraft, may or may not have cursed me. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm bald. Who knows? I'm not gonna super speculate on this. I'm gonna speculate a little bit.
Is that why there's so many men out there that are bald because they're all cursed? No.
Not cursed. I don't know.
No.
Maybe I was cursed.
No.
I don't know. I was supposed to be a different name, and my mom defied.
No.
I was supposed to be Antonio Cervantes III. My mom defied my dad's parents and named me Andres. That's my government name. I just go by Dre now because that's how I want to roll. But I didn't really get to know them, and then now they're gone. So I feel like maybe that's why I don't have this relationship aside from being super not Mexican. I didn't I felt like maybe if I was closer to the people who left, then I would have a much deeper thing. Because yesterday we went and visited you
and grandma.
You, Papa Cat, and Mama Cat, or her parents. We visited your grandma over at Rose Hills.
Yeah,
and
cemetery.
At the cemetery. That was you guys. Obviously, you had a very good relationship. You were very close.
Yeah.
To her, you were close to your grandmother.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, your mom. That's her mom.
Right.
So yeah, it was.
There was always. I mean, even if you're not super close to somebody, but they made some sort of impact in your life, you still want to thank them for living their life and giving you some sort of help in your life. Because that's now they've passed on.
That's part of the motivation of Day of the Day. You're celebrating.
Yeah. Life.
The people, you're celebrating the life, even though they're not with us anymore, that you still feel them in spirit, and that's this is an opportunity for them to see your appreciation.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I don't get it. I've never really understood it. I was kind of trying to understand it, but I was kind of I don't know what's happening. There's a lot of things happening here.
Yeah.
I'm
if there's ever been somebody who's helped you with something in life, but they passed on.
I haven't. Only I don't know. I've never. Up to this point, I've not had anyone super close to me pass away. There's people who I've been acquaintances with who have passed away, which has sucked. But I didn't I don't. I don't know. I don't feel the same amount of empathy. Like if like a close friend passed away, then I'd probably be devastated.
Right.
And I'd probably have a different perspective. But it was just like I think that's where I can attribute my like. Mm-hmm. I'm like I don't get it. I'm like I'm still trying to understand it.
I mean, I think some people could go all the way to how maybe it's not a family member, not a family member, but a musician. Right.
So like, was it not last year, but when Bowie and Prince passed away, like I'm like, I wasn't like crying or devastated, like, oh wow, that sucks. I mean, like, but I mean, me weird, like we still have their music, so they're, I mean, those people are never dead.
And
like,
Stanley.
And of course there's Stanley, Stanley is Stanley, we have 20 movies worth of cameos of him to remember him and all the characters he created. But yeah, but I guess for Day of the Dead is to remember your people who were close to you. I think it's to remember people who are not famous. So like, oh, you're remembering your aunts or uncles and your family members or people who are close to you, people who you respect. Yeah. Like your father set
people
up.
who you want to celebrate with.
Yeah. Your father set up that shrine outside of the self-help graphics. The lady sister. Sister Karen, she helps. Was she one of the people who helped set up? Or helped found?
The founder, yeah.
She one of the founders, yeah. To see your Papa Cat, he wanted to celebrate her like that. She's not someone like she did something noteworthy, but she's not necessarily someone famous. Where you can just go back to a catalog of music or a catalog of books. Or, I feel that's more the point of Day of the Dead. Every year we honor these people who have passed.
Specifically, people who have helped us individually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, Daniel, Optimus Prime was the first major death in my life.
Hashtag too soon.
Yeah, as a kid, I were always hearing. I didn't get to watch that movie because I think my parents deliberately didn't want me to see it happen. I always heard it from all my friends telling me that Optimus Prime died, and I was very much invested, just like Daniel. I was very invested in Optimus Prime. He was one of my favorite Transformers. I always wanted that toy as a kid. It's funny when I was cleaning out my garage, I found my 20th anniversary Optimus. I have this giant, tall Optimus Prime toy. I'm like, oh wow! And it was I remember like hearing about it, and I didn't get to see the movie until I was like, I think I was like 19 or 20, when one of my friends he had a VHS copy, and I'm like, bring it over. I still have never seen that movie.
Oh my god!
And I watched it. I was like, oh my god! Like I remember watching it, like going, oh my god! However old I was, like 9 or 10-year-old me, I would have been fucking devastated. I would have like just watching the way it happened. It was so sad the way it happened. So yeah. Hashtag too soon. Yeah, it was
hashtag too soon.
But it was like, of course, in media, it was like a season or two later, they brought back Optimus Prime. Oh. They used the Autobot Matrix of Leadership to pull him back from the other side. They pulled his spark back and brought him back to life. I remember seeing those episodes. I ended up buying all the episodes of Transformers on DVD.
Oh yeah.
I have them all. I have all the Generation 1 stuff.
Our son will see this.
Our son will see Transformers. And once he gets a little bit older and he understands life and death, we're gonna watch Beast Wars and then Beast Machines. Yes, the stuff that I thought was crappy when I was a young teen. I'm like, oh, it's this Beast Wars crap. Ugh, I don't like it. They're not cars. And then once I got older and I watched Beast Wars, I have all. Of course, I have all the seasons of Beast Wars on DVD, and I have the one season of Beast Machines on DVD.
Right.
Yes, me and little guy, we're gonna sit back, we're gonna enjoy it together. All right, we're gonna pull out this thing called the DVD, son. It's not a streaming thing. I don't know. There's no streaming service for this stuff. Here we go.
Well, we still have VHSs, though.
And we still also have VHSs. Our son will watch the original trilogy unaltered. Unaltered. I have those VHS tapes. I have those THX audio improved VHS tapes. We have a VHS player. My son, our son, he will watch the original unaltered Star Wars on VHS.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't smart enough to buy when they did one last run of them on DVD, but it wasn't like promoted. It was like they were like an extra disc. They were like double pack. Where like they had the special edition George Lucas altered ones, and there's an extra disc. Oh yeah, here's the original one. If that's how you want to live your life. If that's how you want to live your life, you want to see these old crappy ones without that CG. They added it there. So there was a small run of those DVDs without the special feed, the special edition nonsense.
Right.
But no. I have the original ones on THX. I have them. They're in the garage at my mom's house. I've laid eyes upon them.
Yeah.
he will see them. Your son, that's the first thing he will see.
Them.
He will watch the original trilogy. None of this special edition crap with Hayden Christensen at the end of Return of the Jedi. No! None of that! For my boy. He will watch them the way Dada watched them. We'll watch them together once he's old enough to understand. Dada. And when he gets Empire Strikes Back, and then he's like, I may have to record a video. Just like a lot of nerd dads do this. They record their child the first time they see. No, Luke, I am your father. Like that revelation of like, wait, Darth Vader is Luke's father. What? I can't wait to experience that with our little boy. Our little boy is gonna just be blown away. Like he's gonna look at me like, Dada. Why? It's complicated. Let's keep watching.
It's complicated. Well, Day of the Dead, is a nice.
Sorry, I went on a huge tangent.
No, it's okay. It's like
what I do.
Also a nice way to talk about death. Too.
Yeah, it helps you explain death to young people. I had to have it explained to me through Transformers and G.I. Joe and whatnot. I didn't take it well as a child. Really? I did not take it well. Once the concept of death was introduced to me, I remember I have specific memories of sitting and like crying. Because I was just like, we're all just going to end at some point. I'm like, Mom, you're going to go, and Dad, and I just started bawling. I would just like, I could not freaking make peace with the fact I'm like, we're all just going to die. I was just like very fatalistic, 6 or 7 year old kid. I was like, we're all just going to die. You're going to die. Dad's going to die. And I'm going to die. We're all going to die. And all I pictured was the darkness. I was like, no. I was so sad. And my parents were like, no, it's okay. No, we're here right now. Like, you're not going to die tomorrow. Yeah. What if I do die tomorrow? And I was just like, I was a mess. I was just... But I can see where Dia de los Muertos, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can still come visit. They passed away, but once a year they can still come say hi to us. And it's like,
there's no goodbye forever.
There's no goodbye forever. It was just like, all I thought was like, we're all gonna die. We're just gonna go into darkness, and then like everything's over. And that's where I was like, little tiny me.
Yeah, I mean, so I've had it around me my whole life because my dad's been doing it since 70.
Your dad's all in on it.
Yeah, all in. So I remember being a kid and going to these big, huge celebrations with fire pits and dancers and the, frankincense and,
all those different. Oh my God!
All the smells.
The smells.
Sage.
I think that's what probably like disoriented me the most.
The sage.
The sage and any of the other all that stuff was kind of just like my olfactories were just like, you never know why. Especially that one big sage that your pop set off.
On this
the big old one.
Of it.
Well, we need to stand downwind.
Yeah.
Or upwind or whatever.
I know. I can't just have it in my clothing. It'd be impermeating. But it was so fun as a kid because I got to get dressed up and I got to paint my face and I got to eat sugar skulls and I got to eat all this fun dulce.
That wasn't sage.
and then see all these people dressed up like skeletons, and it wasn't ever a Halloween thing for me.
Right. No,
it was so different because
it's separate. Because of its proximity to Halloween, people are always like, "Oh, it's just Mexican Halloween." It's different.
No, just taking Halloween into the weekend, right?
Right.
But no, it's not. Definitely not. So
it's a celebration. It's a celebration, bitches.
It's from a completely different set of people.
Right.
So yeah.
It is not a pagan holiday.
Right. It's not a holiday. Halloween's
Halloween's pagan.
It's pagan celebration.
It's a pagan celebration that's been co-opted by corporations. By corporations.
Just like Christmas.
Just like Christmas. Yeah, I remember I was reading something about that, how all these holidays are they were pagan holidays that have been co-opted by Christians and the corporations into money. Like St. Valentine's and...
San Valentin, Saint Valentine, was an actual person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes, he was an actual person who helped people who were banned from getting married.
Okay.
He was the only priest, I think, the only priest who allowed people into his church and did it secretly, so that people who loved each other could be together.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so he was St. Valentine's Day. Oh. That's why it's all about love.
It's all about love.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to continue talking about death for a second, because this is in honor of our former executive producer Sam Zia, who is obsessed with it. There's a video game coming out, I believe it comes out this week, called Death Stranding. He's been obsessed with it. I've always been of the opposite end on this one, where I'm like, no, I am not excited for this game. This game developer, the gentleman by the name of Hideo Kojima, he's a crazy game developer. He is very imaginative. He is an artist who's making video games. That's what he is. At the end of the day, he is not a guy who's making a game where you go bang bang, you're dead. All right.
Right.
No, he's making a crazy weird game, and all the reviews. So it's not out yet, but all the reviewers in the free world have been able to play it, and the reviews have been weird, because usually when a game gets good scores,
right,
it's because it's fun or enjoyable, but it's awesome. This game has been receiving amazing scores where you see 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, 5 stars out of 5 stars. But then you read the review and it says, this game is not fun. This game is incredibly boring. You spend the first 15 hours walking. It's like a good walk spoiled. It's just endless monotony. You're doing all these tasks. The game is basically, you are a FedEx delivery man. But the story, apparently, the overarching story, like some of the reviews have also said, but through that, like, you have to suffer through all this stuff to get to like the plot and the story. Apparently, this overarching character development, because you're playing as the main character is Norman Reedus, the Daryl from The Walking Dead, as everybody knows.
Okay.
The backstory of this game is that Norman Reedus was supposed to be in this game with Hideo Kojima. They were working for another company called Konami, and they were making a new Silent Hill has always been a horror game.
Right.
And they were supposed to make this game with Norman Reedus, supposed to break technological boundaries, and it's terrifying and amazing. And then for reasons unbeknownst to me or a lot of people, like Konami canceled the game. Like, no, we're not making that game. Screw you. And they kind of like dismissed this guy. Like, all right, we don't want you to make these Metal Gear games anymore. He got famous making these games called Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. Right.
And so he left, and then he teamed up with another company. He created his own company, and he basically got, because Guillermo del Toro was working on this game as well. And they wanted to create this horror game, but so he made something else, this game called Death Stranding. Kodaku said the same, but they put 85 hours into the game. Yeah, wow. There's something compelling, because at the core, a good game, the people who made the game called Halo, they've always said a good game is being able to take an awesome 40 seconds. It's something like where you feel awesome, you feel like a superhero, you feel like you feel superpower for 40 seconds, and then you kind of just find a way to repeat that over and over.
Okay.
It's like you might put a little small break in between all these moments of awesomeness to kind of like let you breathe and then move forward, and oh shit, something
else happens.
That's what the core of a fun game is. Like, there's something that makes you feel powerful. This game apparently is supposed to make you think. At the end of the day, like, a lot of these reviews, like, it seems like this game is, they're giving it high scores because it's a piece of art rather than being a game. Okay. As a game, it's incredibly boring, but as a piece of art, it's high art.
Okay.
It's funny because I remember seeing a while back where the developer said they made the game, like, there's different modes, like, you know, in video games you can set it on hard, set it on normal, or set it on easy.
Right.
Hideo Kojima, he made a quote where, like, he wants people to be able to experience the story. There is a mode, or even like one of the people that works for him, he's very bad at video games.
Okay.
Like a guy who makes video games, but he's incredibly terrible at them.
Right.
Just like we used to joke that all the Nintendo reps, we were terrible at Nintendo games.
Okay.
We suck at Pokemon, we suck at Mario Kart, we suck at Smash Brothers. You ask a Nintendo employee who's not a part of the development team to play a game, they're terrible at it. I was the worst Pokemon player, but I love the games.
Yeah.
All right, so one of the guys who works for him, like, they made a mode in the game where even he can pass the game.
Oh.
I guess like the game literally almost plays itself. So you're basically playing a very long movie that you occasionally interact with.
Okay.
So at the end, it's basically a piece of art.
It sounds like
that can, if you set it to, it can play itself. So it just, I don't know about this game. This is not so, like, this is something I don't know. I would not invest a single cent in this. Maybe I'd borrow it from my brother, because I'm a part of a different gaming group that I help admin and run. And I was saying like I would rather probably just watch someone on Twitch play it if they're at an interesting part where there's dialogue and not walking with your FedEx boxes. Yes, there's all kinds of product placement in this game. Yeah, you literally are putting stuff in FedEx boxes and putting them in. Yeah, the one of the things of the game is like everything's very realistic. Like in video games, like in Final Fantasy, you have like this magical bag of holding. Mm-hmm. It's a joke from Dungeons and Dragons. This bag of holding. It looks like a purse, but it's like a Mary Poppins bag. That's another way. Right. It's like a Mary Poppins bag. You can just put everything in it.
Yeah.
And nothing changes.
Right.
In this game, you have a backpack. Everything you put in it shifts your weight. Oh. So if you put too much in your backpack, then you're gonna struggle walking. If you put too much in your right side of your body, like if you put like a bunch of equipment on your leg on a bunch of holsters.
Yeah.
You'll walk with a limp.
Wow.
Like in the game, this developer, he's so obsessed with all the nuances of realism. Like I quit playing his games after they're in Metal Gear Solid 3, mm-hmm. Snake Eater. Right. You had a hunger meter. Like, so you'd be in the jungle, and you'd have to kill things, or convert, or like you have to find rations and eat them.
Right.
Or like you'd kill snakes or kill alligators, and then you'd have the little meat, and then like every so often you'd have to eat, or else like, mm-hmm. You're like grumble, oh you can't do anything. All of a sudden like, oh my stomach hurts, or if you ate something that was spoiled, you just see them like, oh, you just crap yourself. You're just like, it would debilitate you, or like your health will go down.
Yeah.
It was like so realistic. I was like, this is not why I play video games. I play video games to experience fantasy. Impossibility becomes possible. I don't play games for realism. That's not why I'm here. I'm here for a plumber who takes mushrooms and gets bigger and shoots fire out of his hands occasionally.
That's kind of real. He rolls mushrooms.
He rolls up a leaf he rolls up a leaf and smokes it, and all of a sudden he has raccoon ears and he can fucking fly. That's what I'm here for.
You're here to get high.
I'm here to get high. I'm here to be a space bounty hunter who has a cannon on her arm and is shooting the shit out of Metroids and other weird space pirates and murdering them all for the sake of saving a tiny little baby Metroid. That's what I'm here for.
You're not here for the
super realistic, artsy, fartsy. I mean, at most, maybe I have no doubt my brother's gonna buy it, and then maybe I'll just borrow it from him.
I like this new concept in gaming, though, and
just
watch, relax it, and you know what? Most people are probably high.
Maybe I'll borrow it from my brother once I'm sure my brother's gonna buy it. I'll borrow it from him. I'll pop it into my PS4 here, and we can sit here. We'll have our cocoa. Maybe a little weed, and we'll sit and watch Norman Reedus with a baby in a freaking in a bag because the baby helps him see all the Death Stranding or whatever. They even had Rick and Morty. There was a Rick and Morty video that there was a little ad for that last week. I showed you it. It was funny. They're like, oh, what the hell? It's a baby.
Oh yeah.
Baby,
that's right.
We'll have to eat the baby. Okay, no, we shouldn't eat the baby. Let's eat the baby.
Yeah.
There's a cute little baby. He throws you a little thumbs up. He's like he's a self-aware little baby.
Yeah.
Little BT, your buddy.
Yeah.
And he's on top of things. He helps you see the Death Stranding. Yeah, it's so weird. The more research I've done on this game, it's incredibly weird. Like you have to use your own to defeat some of the enemies. You have little packets of your own blood, and you throw it at it, and your blood makes the thing freak out. Like he's giant.
If anybody threw blood at me, I'd freak out.
I mean, right? Honestly,
shit.
Real talk. But yeah, so that's what's been going on this week. There was a big discussion in this video game group I'm the admin of, and it's very weird. We'll see if I ever take it for a spin. I'm not gonna buy it. Right. I don't have money for games that I like right now. I'm not gonna be spending money on games I'm like
don't like or don't know about yet.
I know nothing about it. I know our executive producer Samsy. He thought the game was coming out next year. He didn't know it was coming out this week. He's very shocked.
So he got it.
I'm pretty sure. Well, whenever I think it comes out tomorrow or it comes out Friday officially, but all the reviews, like the review embargo was lifted last week, so now everybody's talking about it.
Oh, I see.
Speaking of embargoes, so for any of you who've been a long-time viewer or listener of this show, you know that I love me some professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. I love me some professional wrestling. And apparently something happened last week. So lately, the WWE, they've been taking money from everybody. They took $1 billion from Fox, and now SmackDown is on Fox on Friday nights over the air. I can watch WWE again if I so choose. I mean, I have the network, but I haven't really been using it. I only use it for NXT. But besides that, so they've been they've also been taking money from the Saudi Arabian government. These Saudi princes apparently are huge fans of WWE. They're such huge fans that they are forking over millions and millions of dollars to the point where they cause wrestlers who had retired to come out of retirement for money. It's like, what? Like, would you like to do one match for 10 minutes for $5 million? Why, yes. I will put on my tight little trunks.
Yes.
I will work out for a few weeks, and I will show up and do that. Like, Shawn Michaels came out of retirement, who swore he would never wrestle again. But apparently, a few Brinks trucks full of money showed up to his house, and he's like, well, I guess I better take my cross-eyed, bald self out there and go handle this. And everyone he had to ruin the image of beautiful Shawn Michaels where he had like long hair and like now, because the poor guy, I don't know, he's totally like cross-eyed now.
Right.
And he has no hair. He's bald. So but that's beside the point. So they've been doing these Saudi Arabia shows now about like roughly like twice a year. Like, well, it was supposed to just be once a year, but now they've been doing more of these shows. Like they do it twice a year now. And they keep coming under bigger scrutiny. The first time they did it was fine. They were like, it feels like a big PR campaign for Saudi Arabia to try to show like, look, we're not a terrible place. Look at all the things we do. We started to let women drive recently. I remember that was a big point of contention of the very first show they did, the Greatest Royal Rumble. They're like, they were showing, look, women can drive. We're allowing them to drive. Look at this.
Crazy.
And then so like last year, I think it was either the third show. The Saudi journalist was killed around the same time, and John Oliver did a big story exposing like, they're just taking money for all this stuff, and like women aren't allowed to wrestle, and it's funny they've been negotiating. So this past show, they actually let two of the whitest white women wrestle in full body. They had to wear full cat suits and a t-shirt, and that was celebrated as a big to-do, and everyone was happy. And then they kind of. Because one of the radio shows, or one of the podcasts I listen to, they always call it the Saudi Blood Money 3, or this was Saudi Blood Money 4, Allah in.
Allah in?
Yeah, you get it, like all in?
Yeah.
Allah in. And so they had their show, everything. So they had to fly back because they had to leave Saudi Arabia and be in Buffalo, New York. They had the show on Thursday. They needed to get a lot of the wrestlers to Buffalo, New York on Friday to be on SmackDown live. And apparently there were some mechanical problems. For those of you listening on audio, I just did air quotes. Mechanical problems, and they weren't allowed to fly out. Vince McMahon, he left on his private jet. Brock Lesnar, he has his own private jet because he lives above everyone else. He's elite while everyone is not elite. He left on a private jet, but the rest of the crew was stuck in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Which at first it was being reported as mechanical issues.
Right.
But it seems to be that might not necessarily be the case. A lot of wrestlers were complaining that they were stuck there, and some of them felt that they were trapped there. And there's been some speculation. There's a former WWE employee, Hugo Simonovich. He used to be one of the Spanish announcers. He came out and said, like, he's heard from sources, because he still keeps in touch with a lot of people within the country, that there was a financial issue between WWE and Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia would agree to pay them like $50 million for each one of these shows.
Right.
But I guess they haven't been paying the full amount.
Well.
So Vince and one of his cronies, so the live feed that goes out to Saudi Arabia, because they get to watch it obviously on their televisions. We watch it on the WWE network. $9.99 a month. Apparently, they cut that feed to Saudi Arabia because they weren't paying. They didn't let the people in Saudi Arabia watch it live.
Well.
And in retaliation, the crown prince in Saudi Arabia, the one who's a big WWE fan, it's speculated that it was his doing that caused that plane to not leave with all the wrestlers, and they may have been. I don't want to say they were held hostage, but there might have been a hostage situation that we don't.
Have been held hostage.
An unofficial hostage situation.
Oh no!
Where all the wrestlers.
Don't go start no fibbing.
I'm not fibbing. I'm just saying what I'm hearing. I'm just calling it like I see it. All these wrestlers were really complaining on social media how like, hey, we're not being allowed to leave. This is kind of weird.
Scary.
And like, I don't see any guys working on the plane, and they keep saying that like because all these wrestlers were tweeting out because they still have their phones. They're still sitting there. They're pulled off the plane. They got taken off the plane. They're just sitting there waiting, and they don't see anyone working on the plane. And so a lot of them are tweeting like, they're like, I'm not coming back again unless they pay me a shitload of money. Like one of my favorites was like, oh, I am never coming back again.
Yeah, unless they pay you more.
But I do need another pool. And then his wife is like, you're not going back. Like you're not going back unless we can buy another house with what they pay you with. And it's like a lot of.
But first they pay you.
They got paid. You
and
get paid
then
first.
You can go.
Then you can go. So and then there's a lot of stuff coming out today where like some of the wrestlers and Vince McMahon were like, oh no, don't be going on social media talking about this. There was mechanical problems. Don't make this bigger than it what it actually was. Like, wait. Don't make it. What was it? And then this morning, it was announced that a brand new extension of the agreement between WWE and Saudi Arabia was announced today, where they're guaranteed 2 shows a year now. I'm like, wait, did they all get held hostage? And then the part of the negotiation was now WWE has to come back more often. Like, what is going on? This is just speculation. I'm taking the information in, spinning back out my own what I think is going on with these, and a lot of these wrestlers are mad. But
I don't think you're going kooky in your old age, right?
I don't know. But the one silver lining of all this was this past Friday night SmackDown. So they still had to do a show, and most of the wrestlers, most of the women were here because all but 2 of the women were not allowed to go because they allowed 2 of the women to show up and dress very super conservatively and wrestle a short match. So SmackDown had so several of the wrestlers refused to go. Like Sami Zayn of Syrian descent, he's like, no, he does not ever want to go to India. He's very against Saudi Arabia. Right. And then lately, some of the other wrestlers, like John Cena, went to the first show, and then he's like, he refuses to go no matter how much money they pay him now. He's like, nope. And it's funny, some of the wrestlers actually donate the money that they like. This one wrestler who. He's a Pakistani and Iranian descent. Ali. He used to be known as Mustafa Ali, but he's just known as Ali now. Okay. He's gone, but every time he's gone, he takes that money and he donates it. He takes it because he's like, nope, I'm gonna put this money to good use. Okay. Like he'll go wrestle. Okay. Because it's his job, but he'll take that money, whatever his payday is for that day. Whether it's I don't know how much each of them individually gets paid. I think some of the higher like when the Undertaker went, I'm sure they had to pay him multiple millions to go, but because he doesn't wrestle very often anymore. But this guy Ali, like he donates his money, but some of the other wrestlers like Daniel Bryan refuses to go now. He stopped going. He's like, nope, I'm not going.
Why?
Out of principle, because of all the bad shit that Saudi Arabia does, and then he's not going to help further this freaking PR job that WWE is doing for Saudi Arabia. Hey, look at this place! Look at it, so awesome! Look how awesome Saudi Arabia is! Right? Yeah. No, they're not evil. Please ignore all the death that's happening. Look at us wrestling. So a lot of the wrestlers refuse to go. So they had a handful of wrestlers still here who were not trapped in a mechanical problem hostage situation. And so what they had to do, they kind of like they brought up a bunch of the guys from Florida from their good the only good wrestling that happens within WWE, NXT. They brought up a bunch of those guys and they invaded SmackDown because I guess at the next pay-per-view they're supposed to be doing this Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. They're involving NXT now because they're their own brand. Right. Because they have to fight off AEW. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother wrestling themed podcast. And SmackDown was incredibly entertaining because they brought in all these good wrestlers, and they had lots of logical things happen. As opposed lately, they've been just a lot of illogical idiocy. That's all the wrestling podcasts I listen to in the car when you're not in the car. They're just talking about how like all this like they don't do things that make sense. Right. Vince McMahon is like I love this shit. It's such good shit, pal. It's good shit, pal, and it's all illogical bullshit that Vince McMahon does because. Everything is done for an audience of one, a 78-year-old psychopath. Yes.
That's right.
But this show, like, even though like a lot of this was all approved by Vince, it wasn't done by Vince because he was probably still on a plane. Yeah, and then I'm right here, Warren Lung, right here on Facebook. Like, NXT barely made it. Yeah, they flew in during they flew in. Their plane landed just before the show started.
Yeah.
They need a police escort to get them there by segment 3. Oof. So 15 minutes in, it was like they barely got there because they had to come up from they're all, most of the NXT people. They live in Orlando.
Yeah.
They stay there primarily because that's where the training facility is. Mm-hmm. They flew them up from Orlando to Buffalo, barely got there in time, and then like threw them up there, and then they put together a very entertaining show. I was like, I was very impressed and enthralled because I had heard something was crazy was going to happen because they didn't have anybody. All these NXT guys came up and it was fun, and I'm like, oh, well, at least for one night there was good WWE wrestling.
Right.
Thanks to NXT, which is the only brand I like. And that stuff, but yeah, the whole like behind the scenes, like, oh, Saudi Arabia's not paying them, and like, oh, Vince tried to fuck with them, but then the Prince fucked them harder, and now they have to go back even more.
Damn.
And probably still not get paid. Hostages, possibly.
I guess we shall see.
We'll see, and we'll see how many wrestlers volunteer to go next time.
We shall see. We'll keep everybody.
We'll keep you guys abreast of the situation. But as always, you can always follow me right here on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook Live and you don't already like the show, why not? Hit that like button. You'll get notified every time we go live right here on Facebook Live. And if you want to follow us on social media, I've been tweeting more. Follow me at DreGP Podcast on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram. You can see all the art stuff that I've been doing with perler beads. And now that my thumb is fully working, I might start drawing soon, and there'll be more art. And maybe I'll throw that art up on eBay if someone wants to buy it, because I need baby money. I need all the baby money. I need to pay for this baby.
Little tiny dollar bills.
I need tiny dollar bills
baby
that
money.
I can turn into actual money. I will draw you tiny baby dollar bills if you give me real money for them. Yeah, these guys had the improviser matches. I have Warren. Yeah, that's right, Warren Lung. Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole only had 30 minutes. These guys, well, I'm sure it's not the first time Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, baby, ever touched, but Miz and Ciampa, they had to call it in the ring. That's how you do it back in the old days, back in the independents. You call the match in the ring. You figure it out. It's a piece of art. That's what wrestling is. It's a dance. You know what? Sometimes you just call it in the ring, yo.
Performance.
It's a performance art. It's like, you think, oh, you know what? Is the crowd reacting good? All right, let's keep doing that. Oh, the crowd's not reacting? All right, let's change what we're doing. That's how it goes. Remember, at DreGP Podcast on Instagram, at DreGP Podcast on Twitter. Find my Etsy store, Dre's Geek Philosophy on Etsy. You can follow Rosa Limon, Rosa.Limon Los Angeles, or RosaLimon.Los Angeles.
Rosa Limon Los Angeles.
Rosa Limon.
Rosa.Limon.
I realized, I'm like, we never promoted your social media. No, several times you've been on here. I feel bad. I'm like, we don't promote your social media. Like, you
can put me on the links.
We can put you on the links.
Put little libros on the links also.
We'll put little libros on the links.
They're adorable. And
she has an Etsy shop too. If you want little Nintendo controllers for your cats, she has them. They're tiny, adorable Nintendo controllers full of catnip, or if your cat doesn't do drugs, without catnip as well.
Le Meow Club.
Le Meow Club Etsy. She has Le Meow Club Etsy. Dre's Geek Philosophy on Etsy. There'll be links on here somewhere. Definitely on the YouTube and definitely on the audio.
Links in the show notes.
Links in the show notes.
Yeah.
You can always find us on YouTube, Dre's Geek Philosophy as well. A lot of our classic episodes and then all of our current episodes are posted on there, as well as Dre's Retro Game Minute. If you want to hear me talk about retro games, I do that semi-weekly. I try to do it, like, work has been insane. I was going to try to record a video today, but that did not happen.
No.
Damn, freaking work was super busy.
Mondays seem to be kind of crazy, so.
It was like double busy today.
Yeah.
Korean pop music is killing me. My poor little video game company. We're doing third-party logistics. It's insane.
You guys are the little video game company that could.
We are the little video game company that could. It's intense. You can go buy games.
Dusty Games.
Deal Tavern on eBay. Deal Tavern on Amazon. Or if you are a wholesaler, if you have a video game store and you want to sell a lot more video games, contact Sales Manager, Dre Cervantes, videogamewholesale.com. If you want to expand your video game categories, if you want access to older games that people cannot get their hands on, there's PS2 games that you think you can sell, you get a hold of Dre. videogamewholesale.com. You sign up there. If you're a person who sells video games, if you have a store, if you have a booth at a convention, you want to sell video games, videogamewholesale.com. Dre will be your salesperson because I'm the sales manager for videogamewholesale.com.
That's right.
That's right. Help.
We'll help.
Help.
He'll help you.
I'll help you. Help me help you. Let me help you. Help me.
There you go.
Dre's Geek Philosophy. That's what it is. Helping people help themselves. To more video games. To art. Whatever. Etsy. Please. Help us. Help you. I'm delirious at this point.
Yeah, it's late.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys next week. And then hopefully there'll be a Dre's Retro Game Minute going up at some point. On YouTube and on Instagram. I learned how to post it on Instagram the other day. So, yeah, it's on Instagram, at DreGP Podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Share, like, subscribe. Patreon. Be a patron like Daniel Wong is. Be a patron. Help me there, too. Thanks, Daniel. Thank you for being the best patron on earth. Yeah. Join Daniel being good patrons. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.